Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Chaminade College School. I'm Tony Ogello, the principal at Chaminade. Thank you for being here. Once again, a welcome to everybody, to our guests who are here this morning for what is a real exciting day for our school community and things that we've worked in conjunction with Jake's House. So thank you very much for being here this morning. I'd like to introduce the Honorable Laura Albanese. She is our local MPP, and she is the Minister of Citizenship and Immigration. She'd like to come up and have a few words of welcome. So, Honorable Minister. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. I, too, would like to welcome all of you to Chaminade College High School. This is a great community within our riding of York Southwestern. I want to welcome the Minister of Children and Youth for the province of Ontario, the Honourable Michael Cotto. I want to thank him for being here. And, of course, everyone from Jake's House. This is a great day for Chaminade. It's a great day for Jake's House, and as we'll hear more from the Minister, a great day in general for Ontarians and especially those with autism. So thank you very much for being in, having chosen our community for this announcement. I am thrilled to welcome you here, especially at this school that is one of the best schools in our community. It is the heart of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister Albanese. Thank you for those kind words. At this point, I'd like to introduce Margaret Spolstra. She is the Executive Director of Autism Ontario. Margaret is a special education teacher by training. Marg Spolstra has worked for 35 years with individuals with a variety of exceptional learning needs, but particularly with individuals diagnosed with autism and Asperger's. She has worked with young children, teens, adults, their families, and professionals and community leaders who support them in the U.S. and Canada in educational, residential, and community settings. Prior to joining Autism Ontario in December 2000, Marg worked for the Geneva Center for Autism for 15 years as supervisor of the behavior communication team and as a resource consultant, providing professional training on autism, spectrum disorder, across North America. In December 2011, Marg was the recipient of the Order of Canada Award for her work in healthcare. Please join me in welcoming Margaret Spolstra.
Thank you for that kind introduction. How many of you would say that besides family, that friends are just about the most important thing in your life? It's true for everyone. Whether you have autism, whether you have any story that affects your ability to make those friendships. But people with autism, in particular, struggle with social understanding and developing those social relationships. About 1% of people in Canada have autism. In this school, there are about 1,000 students. So that means there's at least 10 folks statistically who would have autism and be in this school, which I think would be a fine place to be given what I've seen today. A wise woman, Elizabeth Bloomfield, who's also a parent of a son with autism, once spoke at a conference about adults with ASD. She offered words to parents that I'll never forget, that in planning for their children's future, she said that one of the most important things they could do for their son or daughter on the autism spectrum was to surround them with people who were not paid to be there, but who ultimately stuck around because they were genuinely fond of their son or daughter, for who they were, and that they were friends and that there was mutuality in that relationship. Who of us would want anything different for ourselves and for children? The development of genuine relationships with peers is one of the greatest desires parents have for their children on the autism spectrum. This innovative community partnership represents a promising opportunity to build those relationships in the neighborhoods where families live. I believe that this investment by the Government of Ontario is another creative step towards that outcome. I'm so pleased to have watched David and Irene dream and plan how they might continue to do this for so many families in Ontario and in partnership with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Canada. Today is the realization of that dream in the most tangible way yet. and Autism Ontario is proud to be a supporter of the Legends program. Thank you very much. It now gives me pleasure to introduce Peter Coleridge, the President and Chief Executive Officer of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Canada. Peter has served as the National President and CEO at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Canada since 2015 and has over 20 years of experience in provincial, national, and international leadership positions in health and social services. He served on several not-for-profit boards and currently serves as a board of director for Partners for Mental Health. He has also served as a special advisor with the Global Economic Roundtable on Mental Health and Addiction. He was the founding member of the Canadian Executive Council on Addictions and has held academic appointments with the University of Toronto, University of BC, and Simon Fraser University. Please join me in welcoming Peter Coleridge.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. And thank you to the Chaminade School for being such wonderful hosts. Thank you so much. I'm also very, very proud to be here today to celebrate the development of one of the first ever mentoring programs for children with autism, and just so proud to be here with Jake's House and with the Ministry of Children and Youth. I think this is just a terrific milestone for all of us, very exciting. And I want to commend the Ontario government for investing in this new initiative, a new and innovative programming that seeks to help young people with autism and improve social and emotional needs of young people. We all know in this room that when we invest in kids, we're giving them the confidence to achieve more. And when we do that, we know that their potential has no bounds. And that's why this program, just starting this journey, is just so exciting, because I, from what I know about mentoring, will see the impact of this program over many years to come. As an organization across Canada, we have 108 local Big Brother, Big Sister agencies, and we've been approached for many years by parents and guardians who have children with various exceptionalities, including children with autism. And now, through this partnership with Jake's House, we're going to be able to have a great opportunity to explore what impacts mentorship has on the development of children living with autism and the support that mentorship provides to those families as well. The known outcomes of mentoring services within the scope of children with autism are limited at this stage, but there's no question the time is right now for our country and Ontario as a province to explore alternative sources of support for these children and youth. And you know, we've got a strong foundation to build on. I just want to give you a couple of facts about what we do know about the healthy development of children. Relationships with caring, responsive adults and early positive experiences build strong brain architecture for children. In the early years, it's critical that we provide responsive relationships and safe and stable environments that help reduce the threats to child well-being. So simply put, the two-way dynamic relationship between a mentor and a mentee changes lives. It sets a child up for a lifetime of resilience, positive social interaction, and academic and career success. The research is clear, very clear. A caring adult, a mentor, has a significant positive impact on social and health outcomes, and it's a need-to-have intervention for all young Canadians. It's not a nice-to-have feel-good relationship. The research is so clear on the impact of mentoring. And I just want to thank all of you here today and Jake's House and the ministry and many others for their hard work and commitment that got us here today. We really believe that the Legends Mentoring Program will give children and youth living with autism the confidence to achieve more. So this is a great milestone. So thank you all very much. And my pleasure now to introduce Patricia Pearson. And Patricia is a board member at Jake's House. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter, for that introduction. On behalf of Jake's House, its founders, its board of directors, and most importantly, its families, I would like to extend a sincere thank you to Minister Couteau and his dedicated team at the Ministry of Children and Youth Services. Jake's House is honored to be recognized and included in the funding that will transform Ontario's services and support for families in our province whose lives have been affected by autism. In the month of June, we will begin to witness significant movement and growth in services like the Jake's House Legends program because of Minister Couteau and others like him who continue to work to support the needs, the goals, and success of these young people and their families. I personally have seen the profound effect autism has on the families with whom Jake's House work. I have seen the before, the after, and the in-between. As a mother, I have felt the feeling of life spin upside down and all around with the news of expecting a child. The moment where your priorities, your visions, and everything completely changes. Although sometimes terrifying, it is undeniably exciting. As a close member of the Jake's House family, I have witnessed these families feeling that feeling twice when they learn their child has autism. Often, the second time, fear, confusion, and concern eclipse any feeling of excitement. Words fail to properly describe a fear that is founded in its blankness, in its not knowing. Not knowing if your child will be safe or not, if they will be healthy, if they will have friends, meaningful relationships, if they will feel bullied, isolated, or alone. Not knowing if they will have dreams or the means to achieve them. Not knowing if you can provide enough, if you can be good enough for them. Not knowing if there's help with all of this not knowing. When I consider the work that Minister Couteau is performing in partnership with Jake's House and Big Brothers Big Sisters to fund the Legends program, I reflect on a beautiful thought from C.S. Lewis. Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, "What, you two? I thought I was the only one." Jake's House and the Legends program are built to ensure that no parent, no child, and no person affected by autism would ever feel abandoned, alone, or without hope. They were built to foster friendships that would prove that there will always be someone who understands, someone who gets it, and someone who says, "You're not the only one." This house was built for all those who might feel homeless, helpless, and hopeless. Jake's House was built so that families could have a home. For these reasons and so many more, Minister Couteau, we thank you for giving Jake's House the chance to make the Legends program a reality. Thank you for letting us extend our arms and reach out to all those who need the support that the ministry, Jake's House, and Big Brothers and Big Sisters are so eager to offer. Thank you for helping to make Jake's House a home. Thank you. And now it is my absolute pleasure to introduce one of the co-founders of Jake's House, David Bodanis.
Sure. How'd you like to follow that? First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here today. It was with some degree of terror that I actually woke up this morning and started doing math and realized that it was 33 years ago that I graduated from this school. And I must say that in revisiting it over the last little while and working with not only Principal Agello and Nadia Pasquini and many of the teachers and a lot of the students, I can honestly say that the school has never been in better hands. They have built a community here that thinks of others before they think of themselves. So we are so much appreciative of all that you do for not only our charity, but all of those that we are trying to help. It has been mentioned by the prior speakers that this is a collaboration that is somewhat unique. I would reemphasize that from our standpoint, it is a collaboration without peer. If you're lucky enough, and I will be kind in my time reference to our dear friend Mark Spolstra, who long before there was a Jake's House met Dave and Irene Bodanis, who just found out that their son Jake was diagnosed with autism. What is that 20 years ago? We don't know. And thankfully somebody put us towards Marg and her wisdom, and it is with a tremendous honor that we move forward as an organization with what she has been so integral in building with her team over at Autism Ontario. And if our fortunes weren't good enough given that, we came along and had this idea of trying to find friends for everybody. It's just not something that's acceptable that any child is going to go without a friend. And a lot of our research found that while parents were looking for treatments and we're looking for therapies and we're looking for a lot of social needs that are most certainly needed, the one element that seemed to be missing or fearful that their child would be missing was a friend. So it's something that sounds easy. It's very challenging to do given the nature of some of the children, ours included. They tend to be isolative in nature, but we can assure you there's something really good inside of all these children without exception. And as we started talking and developing the program, something that became paramount to us was the safety of those children. I know that our son Jake comes to Chaminade, and we never fear for his safety. We know that there's dozens of eyes on him, and we want the same for any child who comes to this new program. And when you are lucky enough to reach out and talk to an organization like Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Canada, over 100 years of stellar work, leadership that you see in the form of Peter Coleridge and his team and all of those who have helped us come along. A lot of people will say, Dave and Irene have done a lot for this charity. I can tell you all unequivocally that we are by far more the recipients of charity than we are the givers of it. The outreach and the support and the help that we have gotten from the community has been outstanding. The numbers are staggering. We all hear them every day. When Jake was diagnosed in 2020 years ago, whatever it was, my wife was told at a time numbers like 1 in 8,000, 1 in 5,000, now we're down to 1 in 150. It doesn't matter to us, and I'll tell you why. Because no matter how many children have autism, we know there are volunteers and people out there that will help them. The success of this program, the success any that Jake's House is having, is because of the volunteers. It's because of everyone who's willing to say, I'll think of somebody else before I'll think of myself. And with that, I just like to express, as so many have others before me today, that when you're lucky enough to find a champion, you hold on to them. And today, we sit with the biggest champion we found, both physically and literally. He's a big guy. And, it's interesting, but once we started talking with the government and we found out that there could be some support, you find yourself watching, parliamentary TV, Ontario, and sometimes it's quite compelling. And in all seriousness, I have watched over the last little while, and the first thing that you notice about Minister Coteau when he speaks on something is that he's always well informed. He's clearly a very bright man, and these things come across on the surface. But as you start to watch a little bit more, and you start to scratch underneath the surface, I found somebody that had a tremendous amount of empathy in him. I would watch the way he would speak towards subjects beyond what was information that was relevant, and somebody who spoke as a citizen, as a parent, and when we started to realize we had found somebody that truly cared about these kids as much as we did. So it is with that I will thank all of you again. If I've left anybody out, my apologies. This initiative is something that is extraordinarily important to us. We do not think it has a limit. We know that there are those that are willing to help, as many that need help. And with that, I would like you to help me welcome. It is my extreme pleasure to introduce Minister Michael Coteau.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much. So now we know who that one viewer is watching. Finally. No, there's a lot of people watching, and it's good to watch once in a while to know what your government's up to. So thank you so much. I want to start by saying thank you, Minister Albanese, for having us in your beautiful riding here today at this beautiful school. You know, as the former Minister of Citizenship and Immigration, you know, I know that when we talk to people out there, we always reference the fact that, you know, as Ontarians, as Canadians, you know, what's brought us here from many parts of the world is the fact that we look after each other. And, you know, that's what I mentioned to the students at the school here today. You know, Principal Agello, did I say it correctly? Principal Agello, thank you so much for having us here. Your students are incredible. You know, being in a room with 1,000 young people and, you know, who are very supportive of Jake and the family. Having James, a former student here, you know, I could feel the love in the air. So thank you so much for having us here. I know, you know, this could be a bit of a distraction, but it wasn't a distraction, an announcement. It was something that was in the very DNA of what the school's about. So thank you so much for having us here today. And I want to thank our other guests that are here today. I know that we have our friends from Big Brothers Big Sisters, Autism Ontario, and of course, David and Irene, the co-founders of Jake's House. You know, you've done incredible work as a family. You've done incredible work. And, you know, when we as a government, you know, it's easy for us to look for organizations, you know, that we can support. We look across, we find organizations, but it's hard for organizations to get to that point where they've built success. You know, it takes a lot of time and effort. And, you know, when we first met several months ago, you know, right off the bat in the first few minutes, I knew that we were dealing with an organization that is doing remarkable work here in Ontario. And I also, Patricia, your words earlier today were incredible, and they resonated deeply with me. You know, to have board members that you know, that have experience in the work that they're providing for others is really important as well. So thank you for your volunteer work and your contribution to the board and to Jake's House. Last week I had the opportunity to make an announcement. We were at Erin Oaks and we made an announcement. I believe it was probably the biggest announcement in the history of autism here in Ontario, if not this country. It was part of our government's commitment to invest $500 million to support families here in Ontario. I talked about direct funding being an option for parents. We talked about moving towards regulation. We talked about a lot of things, but when you kind of moved all of those pieces away, we were talking about helping each other. You know, as Ontarians, that's why we're here. We're here to help each other, support each other, and to ensure that people have the opportunity to reach their full potential here in the province of Ontario. You know, mentorship is one of those things that can make a difference in a person's life. I was fortunate. I had a couple of mentors that helped me in my life. And I honestly believe that if I didn't have those folks in my life, I wouldn't be here speaking today on behalf of the people of my riding and the government of Ontario. So I'm proud to be able to support this incredible program and excited that our government, Government of Ontario, is going to invest $650,000 over the next 2 years into the Legends program at Jake's House. There's a beautiful partnership between Jake's House and Big Brothers Big Sisters that fosters a sense of inclusion and helps children and youth from 6 to 18 build the skills they need through mentorship. By matching children and youth with mentors, they can work together to grow, learn, build resilience, and develop the essential skills they need to take on life. This funding is going to target 3 areas. It'll be Lanark, Toronto, and Ottawa. I'm very proud to be here to support this initiative today. As a government, we'll continue to make the right types of investments that will support young people here in the province of Ontario. Recently, we talked about PharmaCare Plus, making sure that anyone 24 and under will receive medicine for free. It's aligned with our commitment to make sure that if you are here in the province of Ontario and you want to pursue post-secondary, that money should not stand in the way. And that's when we announced last year that we would be providing families or individuals with under $50,000 the tuition in order to go to school. And today we announced more investments into schools, and I hope that announcement was made already. If not, I've done it. And we've committed to building more childcare spaces here in the province of Ontario. But the bottom line is this, is that we need to make sure that our young people have the resources and the commitment from government and the people of Ontario to build the type of province that we've been fortunate to live in. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here today. Thank you, David, Irene, for your commitment. Again, it's not easy to build an organization to this point, to start to build those partnerships with big brothers, big sisters in the government of Ontario. It's taken a lot of work. I just want to say thank you on behalf of the Premier of Ontario. Thank you on behalf of the government of Ontario for your commitment to helping young people get the type of support they need here in the province. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. If I can just have the Minister, Couture, if you can just come back up. I'm just going to present you Chaminade to remember us by. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Brotherhood. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm finally in.
And you're in. You're in now. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you.